Talks are ongoing to free the kidnapped 42 people, who include 27 schoolboys. Journalist and political analyst Omoyele Sowore is a Nigerian human rights activist, pro-democracy campaigner and founder of an online news agency, Sahara Reporters. He's kept a close eye on the frequent kidnappings and related security issues in Nigeria. He spoke to SABC News on the variety of issues that surround the recent spate of kidnappings in northwestern Nigeria.
The variety of armed groups in northern Nigeria, also in southern Nigeria, everywhere in Nigeria, but they have been more prominent in northwestern and northeastern part of Nigeria. And now what is interesting is that they're declaring affiliation with Boko Haram. The last kidnapping that was carried out in Kankara in Katsina State, those kids ended up in a videotape that was released by Boko Haram. We do not know if this group of bandits are affiliated with Boko Haram, but I won't be surprised. I wanted to correct an impression that the last group of kids were rescued. They were not rescued. A huge amount of money was paid as ransom for them, and something was presented to the public as rescue, but it wasn't rescue at all. They paid ransom on their behalf, and we're hearing that these other kids, over $2 million of ransom has been paid, and they might have released them even halfway by now, as soon as the last tranche of ransom is delivered to the bandits, as we call them here.
So, I mean, it sounds like literally banditry, as they're named bandits. It doesn't seem like some kind of ideological or religious type of attack in any way.
Well, you know, what is the ideology of banditry? It's something you can't tell except you understand who the bandits are working for. In some cases, we've heard stories that they're working for politicians. In fact, this new set of bandits met with the secretary to the state government of Niger State yesterday, and they looked so comfortable around themselves. They went to their camp with a Muslim cleric who's popular, Sheikh Gumi, and they met with them and discussed how to pay ransom and get the boys, the school kids released. So I don't think they need an ideology. They just keep doing what they're doing because Nigeria is failing as a nation. Nigeria is almost a failed state when it comes to security.
And once you pay ransom, of course, it makes it easier for this kind of thing to continue because it's a money-making scheme.
Absolutely. As soon as they get paid, they head back to the market to procure more arms, and they're definitely going to strike again very soon and somewhere very close. We just don't know where next.
What is it about this area that makes it particularly vulnerable? Is it remote? No security close by? Why this part of the country? Well,
I don't think any part of Nigeria is actually safe at this time. There's been a failure of government. The security agencies have failed, and it doesn't look like anybody is in charge of Nigeria. The commander-in-chief, President Buhari, has practically abdicated his position when it comes to commanding the troops. The Inspector General of Police was supposed to have retired. His tenure was extended. It took a lot of pressure to even retire the former service chiefs in the armed forces who were eventually bribed with ambassadorial position. I don't know why, but nothing seems to be working here. That's the sad part. This place is falling apart. I mean, Nigeria, and nobody seems to be in charge. President Buhari is completely and absolutely, I can tell you that categorically, incompetent and incapable of running Nigeria. And the result is what you are saying. So maybe where you head from next is the southern part of the country. You never know, because everywhere seems to be falling apart in terms of security, physical security.
He's a former soldier. I mean, when it comes to perhaps running other parts of government, one would have expected that security might be something that comes naturally to President Buhari.
Well, if you look at what brought Nigeria to where it is now in the last 60 years, Nigeria was ruined by soldiers and further ruined by former soldiers. Since the advent of democracy some 20 years ago, 2 former soldiers have been president in Nigeria, President Olusegun Obasanjo and now Buhari. Combined, those 2 guys would have spent, I must have spent close to 16 years, because 8 years each, if Buhari is allowed to complete this disastrous tenure. They've come back to do what they know how to do, just ruin our spaces, our civil spaces.
Tell me about the role that these porous borders are playing between Nigeria and Niger. My understanding is that there's a lot of movement by these bandits backwards and forwards.
That's correct, but it's not the only reason why bandits are all over Nigeria. A lot of the bandits are also locals, people who exist in these communities who have been empowered, in some cases by politicians during election. They buy them weapons to suppress their opponents, steal election votes. And when they're done with them, they just abandon them with the weapons and they do whatever they want with it. They form these groups, they kidnap people, they extort money from farmers, and then they engage in sometimes even cattle rustling. Cattle rustling means they steal cows and cattle from those who come from Niger. So sometimes even those who are coming across the border become victims of these local warlords that we refer to as bandits. I don't think it's a border issue. I think it's a leadership issue.
When we talk about locals, I mean, it sounds as if a lot of these bandits perhaps are known and can be recognized by local populations.
Oh, absolutely. Not only are they known, they are invited and fitted by the government from time to time. They invite them over, they hold meetings with them, they pay them money, they visit them in their camps, and they take photographs, they do photo ops. They come back and the militants or the bandits, these local warlords just continue to do what they are well known. We know their names, we know their location, we know their phone numbers. As journalists, we know them. And the government definitely knows them. Security agencies know them. In fact, sometimes the security agencies visit them or take people to visit them when there's need for discussions over a ransom. So the Nigerian security is also complicit in keeping things as they are in this terrible shape. That's the reason why we keep talking about leadership and not some distractions about border or the tendency to be criminal. But there's also been an argument that President Buhari, being a very sectional leader, who is widely known as tribalist, a bigot, and a nepotist, has encouraged some of these guys to just ride roughshod because they are his brothers or sisters.
I mean, I'm listening to you relate this story, and my jaw is dropping because for a head of state to know that his officials in the security services and leading administrators are openly welcoming these bandits to the table, as it were, and life goes on. It's incredible to believe.
It might sound incredible, but it's the truth. You can just Google search images on bandits and Nigerian officials, governors in Katsina State, in Zamfara State. In fact, in Zamfara State, where a lot of kidnappings has been going on, they even have a budget line item for them this year. I think it's about 200 million naira, which is equivalent of $500,000. It's in their budget. And I don't think the school where these kids were kidnapped from, if you see the images, you'll be shocked. You can't call them schools. They look like pens, They look like pigsties. And then they allocate funds to the militants or the bandits. In fact, in one instance, they gave vans to some of these militants, and they killed an army general in one of the brand new vans that was just given to them by the state governor in Zamfara State. This is public knowledge here.
Are the people powerless? I mean, these people are voted in to their positions, or is there another way that they end up leading these states?
People are not powerless, but they're overwhelmed. You're aware, I think I spoke to your channel during NSAS. That was the mass protest that took place against police brutality. And you saw what the Nigerian government did. They went to peaceful protesters and opened fire on them on October 20th, 2020, and killed several persons and took their bodies away. Some families still can't find their bodies and denied it the next day. So it's overwhelming to have, your country leaders open fire on peaceful protesters who are waving the national flag and singing the national anthem. But I think a lot of people are reorganizing, and I think in a few days or weeks, if not months, there's going to be more mass uprising against this kind of clueless, incompetent, and leadership that has been operating with impunity in Nigeria. But it's been tough for the Nigerian people. This is not what they bargained for when democracy came 20 years ago. But what I've said consistently is that we didn't know that we're not entering into a democratic era. We're entering into a moronocratic era, I like to say. We had a bunch of morons hand over to new set of morons. And that's why we call it a morontocracy in Nigeria.
And what's been the official word from President Buhari? How has he explained all of these abductions and the lack of security?
President Buhari doesn't talk to Nigerians. We call him a mannequin. They dress him up once in a while and put him out so as to just convince Nigerians that he's still alive. I have not heard a word from him. No word was heard from him in this recent one. The last one, when he spoke, his words were at variance with what was happening, which made a lot of people feel that, understand clearly that he's not in charge. But on this latest matter, not a single word has been heard from Mr. Buhari.
Bottom line, what's going to happen is what's happened before. Money will be paid over and these children will be set free.
Man, it's a very lucrative business. Kidnapping in Nigeria is very lucrative.